crazy. Well, here we go again. Y'all ready? I'm turning down. I won't turn up. I'm turning down. It's hard, Lord, but I won't turn around. I won't turn up. I'm turning down. Try again, Lord. Turn up. I'm turning down. I made up my mind to do God's will, so I don't mind climbing these rugged hills. I've been talked about, I've been lied on, but I won't turn around. Gotta make heaven my home. Yeah, I'm turning down. I won't turn up. I'm turning down. It's hard, Lord, but I won't turn around. Say, y'all, turn up. I'm turning down. Beginning to get hot. I'm turning down. Wait a minute, y'all. Feeling pretty good right now. Is there anybody here feel like me? Now swing it. Are you ready to go? What about you, sophomore? Tell me, are you ready to go? Need it? Tell me, what you ready to go? Robin, Terrence, big time. What about you ain't drunk? What about you ain't drunk? Boy, you better play them drums like you need a boy.
You right. Coming back at you. One more again, one more again.
Train up, train up for the
We gonna do another special on that. Why the so-called white natives seem to be having a problem and disapprove of the black native. You know, for lack of better word, we use the black and white so that everybody know what we talking about. Cause for black folk, or those folk who said or called black today, or said to be black today, we pretty much see everybody that got a lighter hue as white. Although some will say, well, I ain't white, I'm Latino, I ain't white, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. You know, but we as the one that's called black, we really kind of see all these people as being white people. It's something we got to come out of, but that's, you know, for the sake of argument. So when using black and white, we kind of know the people we talking about, but you got to put an asterisk beside those two words, black and white, because those two words can be tricky. Because sometimes some people talking, when they use black and white, they talking on a status level. And then sometimes some people be talking on a more like a historical level or a skin tone type level. So you got to put asterisk beside those words. And maybe while Do-Right doing this, he can, you know, kind of put a little in there so you'll know when he's talking on the law side or when he's talking on the skin side. You know, because the status, you got the status as being black and white in status, and then you got being black and white as a skin tone. You know, how you get a lot of these people talking about, you know, I ain't seen no white person. Ain't nobody white. Ain't nobody black. Most especially them so-called that try to, you know, get you off in that Moorish sign. They good at that. You know, they good at talking. Ain't no black people and, you know, people come in nationality. I ain't saying they're wrong. They're right. But all so-called black folk ain't got the same nationality. But they don't never want to deal with it on that. Then when it comes to dealing with the nationality thing, they try to say that all so-called folk that black are Moors. That's a lie. That's just not true. You know, and then, so then they try to play the word game with you So they'll say, well, all black folk are Moors. But then they'll turn around and say, I ain't never seen no black or white person. And then they try to tell you that Moor is a nationality. And people don't come in skin tone. That's why I told y'all, it's different skin tones of Moors. You got some Moors who look Caucasian. But they ain't. They Moors. Their nationality is a Moor. Or Berber. Or Arab. There's another terminology for them. The word Moor and the word Muslim and the word Arab, in a lot of sense, not all the time, but in a lot of sense, those words can be used synonym for one another, because they're talking about a specific group of people that inhabited around the Mediterranean Sea. These were seacoast people, seafaring people on the other continent over there. Not this continent over here in the Americas, not this continent, the other continent. But we touched on a few things last week on why the white natives seem to be disapproving of the black natives, especially among the Cherokee and the Cherokee freedmen. That whole thing is about the Obama administrator had ruled that black folks are Cherokees, which opened the door for over 120 million so-called black folk in America to claim their Indian status now. Some say, it's by blood quantity. Some tribes is about your blood quantity, which is a big hoax. And it's a big scam from the get-go, because most of those that's in these tribes, especially those that's on the reservation, they got a little native blood in them, but not much. And the rulers and the one who lead the nation, they kind of breed in with one another, try to keep their little blood quantum up. But they mold with just a little bit of native blood in them. And that's a control issue. But we touched on a lot of things in that part. But we're going to kind of back up a little bit and add another dimension into that. We talked about how the runaway slave, how we gave them land and put them in between different tribes for perfection. For protection. To protect them, because they were runaway. We ain't so much as mixed our blood with them, but they started forming their own colonies. These were what you could term in history on the status side as poor white folk. They were the slaves. Not necessarily white in skin tone, but white in the status to the law. They were said to be white, but they were poor. They were coming in here working on the colony. A lot of them paid their way to come to the New World, and a lot of them were what they call indentured service. And a lot of them were just outright brought here as slaves, as prisoners. That's what they were. The slaves were the prisoners, because the Hessians at that time, which was nothing but another group of Moors like Vikings, they had, after they were kicked out of Spain, because the Moors and the Jews were kicked out of Spain. And the Moors and the Jews really the same thing. It's just that the Moor was the pure one and the Jew was the mixed blood. Them were the ones had to mix in with the Spanish. And that's what you're going to find, that this group of people under the nationality of Moor. The national Moor from nation Moor, not the Moor as far as skin color. Because the word Moor in the English language got a whole bunch of different meanings. If you look under the dictionary, under the word Moor, you probably going to get 5 or 6 words spelled the same way. But they all got different meaning. One means an Arab or Berber. That's the nationality side of it. One means those of a darker hue. That's the skin tone side of it. See, so the word have more than one meaning in the English. And these folk who up in front of you giving you the information, who want to charge you for the information because they want to write their little book and stuff, they ain't telling you all the stuff they leaving out, these books that they read. Because they're reading some books to get their information out of. So why don't they just put the information, the book title, what they read out there so you can get that book? Because a lot of them using these free books you can get off Google. Or they had access because a lot of their parents had these books in their house in their different libraries. Because you had black folk who had libraries. They were white folk really on the law side. On the skin side they were black. But on the law side they were white folk. And their children went to school with white folk. With rich white folk. Anyhow. Because they were rich, so-called rich black folk. If you're feeling it, you can stay with the white and the black on the folk. And then you can get it. But what became known as the Creek Indians was a confederation or tribe that was formed by the runaways, the mulattoes that we talked about. Because we told y'all to look at that word mulatto. The Creek really got to be the different tribe of white folk that were running away. Or what we call history will have these people in as poor white people. Because they was white and saying they had the status in the English law or in the European law. Spanish, European, more, all of them, because European became a word that just means foreigner. So in the foreign law system, they were said to have standing. They could speak in court and stuff, but a lot of them was poor. And they was catching it because they were always being beholden to the rich ones among them. And so essence, they was getting paid for their labor, a lot of them, but they were getting what they call a slave wage. Because the rich folk weren't paying them. And so we started giving these folk land and letting them set up their own colonies or their own tribes, and they was nationalized into our system of government. Now let Do Right check and see if he right. In 1790, the United States passed what was called a Nationalization Act, where they were naturalizing people who were coming over to the New World. Because once they got north abroad in Europe, Europe started dumping people over here. The Moors started dumping people over here. We ain't forgot about that Hessian thing. Now, we're going to get back to that Hessian thing probably in a little bit. But when they passed that Nationalization Act, all other people that were coming over here, because you had people from North Africa, people from India, well, it wasn't so much of India and China at that time coming in on the east side. These folk and Russians and stuff, they were coming in on the west side. And the same thing was going on the west coast over here. You had a lot of foreigners, like folk from India and China and Russia, or the island people, Pacific Island people. They were coming in on the west coast. And a lot of their runaways was forming little colonies out there on the west coast side. But the Creek became confederation of different nationality of people. That's why the government cannot give you a pure definition of what is an Indian. Because the word Indian just means a native, meaning they were born here. It was talking about the children of those runaways, regardless of what their skin color was. Because you had different nationalities of people. And so with them mixing in with one another, they started, you know, taking on different looks. They started looking like a whole lot of different people, and they started looking more like the Cherokee, because the Cherokee was really another confederation of Berber people, but we was in peace with them people for a long time. And one of these days we're gonna go deeper in that Cherokee thing. We ain't gonna mess with it on this one. But so the Creeks started taking on the look just like the Cherokee. And a lot of times they started lightening up because the majority, not all, but majority of the people who would run away are what we say are Caucasian or white people today. Because then was the main one who was coming here at that time. And most of the time, it was a bunch of men. It wasn't, in the early days, it wasn't a whole bunch of women coming. It was a bunch of men, and they were running away, sitting on their colonies, and they started marrying in and mixing with our women. You know what I say our? I'm talking about your Massey, Oconee, Gullah, Geechee, Choctaw, Washita. All these people talking about the same people. They're talking about the same people. And so you had, you know, the English come in on the northeast, and the Spanish come in through around Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, and the French come in around the Gulf of Mexico and the New Orleans part. Then you had the Dutch coming in, and you had different Arabian nations coming in too, who were attacking. And you had some Moors from North Africa, Algeria, and Morocco. A lot of them folk were coming too, and they were bringing their own people into slaves. So the European, or the white European, was the main one bringing the white people as slaves, because America was looked at that time as a penal colony. And so all the folk they were having trouble with, they were going to bring them over in the penal colony and make slaves with them. And then, you know, they had like just like they had to do today. Sometimes you can give you life in prison. And they were bringing these folks to sit here and build up their colonies for them. A lot of people, as we stated, they came here free. They were free people.